Hey everyone, welcome back to History on this day. Today we're journeying back to January 20th, 1986. This wasn't just another Monday. It was a landmark day in American history, the very first time Martin Luther King Jr. Day was observed as a national holiday. But the story of how this day came to be is a powerful saga of determination, music, and a 4-decade-long fight for recognition. It's a story that's just as inspiring as the man it honors. Our story begins in the immediate, tragic aftermath of Dr. King's assassination on April 4, 1968. As the nation grappled with grief and shock, a vision for a lasting tribute began to form. Just 4 days after the tragedy, Congressman John Conyers of Michigan, a prominent member of the Congressional Black Caucus, stood before Congress and introduced the very first bill to establish a federal holiday in Dr. King's name. It was a bold move, an immediate call to cement King's legacy in the national consciousness. But the path forward would be anything but easy. The bill languished in committee, facing skepticism and outright opposition. The idea of honoring a private citizen, let alone a black man who had been a controversial figure for many in the establishment, was a radical concept for the time. For years, Conyers and his allies, like Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to Congress, tirelessly reintroduced the bill at the start of every new session. Each time, it failed to gain enough traction to pass. The arguments against it were varied. Some cited the cost of a new federal holiday. Others questioned whether King, who had never held public office, was worthy of such an honor, placing him in the same league as figures like George Washington. Behind these arguments, however, often lay a deeper resistance to formally recognizing the leader of the civil rights movement. A movement that had fundamentally challenged the nation's status quo. The campaign needed a new kind of energy, a force that could bypass political gridlock and speak directly to the hearts of the American people. And that force arrived in the form of a musical genius, Stevie Wonder. In 1980, Stevie Wonder was at the peak of his creative powers. He channeled his passion for Dr. King's message of peace and equality into his album, Hotter Than July. The album's closing track wasn't just a song, it was an anthem, a call to action. You all know it, Happy Birthday, with lyrics like I just never understood how a man who died for good could not have a day that would be set aside for his recognition. The song was an unapologetic, joyful, and powerful piece of advocacy. It wasn't a somber hymn. It was a celebration. Stevie Wonder didn't just release the song, he put his entire career on the line. He embarked on a nationwide tour in 1981 with Gil Scott-Heron, another politically conscious artist, using their concerts as massive rallies to gather support for the holiday. At these events, they weren't just performing. They were organizing. They urged audiences to sign petitions, to write to their representatives to make their voices heard. Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday became the soundtrack of the movement. It was played on the radio, at rallies, and in homes across the country, transforming a political debate into a popular cultural crusade. The song made the cause accessible and relatable to millions who might not have been engaged with the legislative process in Washington, D.C. It was brilliant. It showed that art and activism could be a powerful, unstoppable combination. The momentum became undeniable. The King Center, led by Dr. King's widow, Coretta Scott King, worked in tandem with this cultural wave. She was the steadfast, strategic heart of the campaign from the very beginning. Mrs. King testified before Congress numerous times, presenting the case with grace and unwavering resolve. In 1982, she and Stevie Wonder delivered petitions to the Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, bearing a staggering 6 million signatures. This was the largest petition in favor of an issue in U.S. history at the time. 6 million people simply couldn't ignore that. It was a testament to the grassroots power they had built. Finally, the political tide began to turn. In 1983, the bill was brought to the floor of the House of Representatives. Support was strong, with prominent figures like Speaker O'Neill and Representative Jack Kemp championing the cause. The bill passed the House with a decisive vote of 338 to 90. The real battle, however, was expected in the Senate, where a staunch conservative opposition was preparing for a fight. Senator Jesse Helms of North Carolina led the charge, attempting to block the bill. He launched a filibuster and even produced a 300-page document accusing Dr. King of being a communist sympathizer. rehashing old, discredited FBI smears from the J. Edgar Hoover era. It was a tense and ugly moment. But the support for the holiday had grown too strong to be derailed by these tactics. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan of New York famously threw Helms's document to the Senate floor, calling it a packet of filth. Even conservative senators, recognizing the will of the people and the importance of the moment, began to voice their support. Senator Bob Dole played a crucial role in corralling Republican votes. In a pivotal moment, President Ronald Reagan, who had initially been hesitant about the holiday due to cost concerns, signaled he would sign the bill if it reached his desk. The pressure was immense. The moral weight of the campaign, fueled by millions of citizens and the unforgettable melody of Stevie Wonder's song, had become overwhelming. The Senate voted to end the filibuster, and on October 19, 1983, passed the bill by a vote of 78 to 22. On November 2, 1983, in a ceremony in the White House Rose Garden, President Reagan signed the bill into law, establishing the third Monday in January as the Martin Luther King Jr. national holiday. It was a moment of profound victory. Coretta Scott King stood beside him, the embodiment of dignity and perseverance. Her decades of tireless work had finally come to fruition. And so, we arrived back at our date, January 20th, 1986. On that day, the first MLK Day was observed. All across the country, there were parades, concerts, and church services. People from all walks of life came together not just to remember a great man, but to rededicate themselves to his dream of a beloved community. It was a day of service, a day on, not a day off, as the slogan went. It was the culmination of a 17-year struggle that showed the power of persistence, the influence of culture, and the unwavering belief that one person's dream could truly change the world. The journey wasn't over, though. It's important to remember that not all states adopted the holiday immediately. Some resisted for years. It wasn't until the year 2000 that all 50 states officially observed Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This long road to full recognition only underscores the significance of the initial victory in 1983 and the first observance in 1986. It proves that progress often happens in stages, pushed forward by ordinary people who refuse to give up. So, when we mark MLK Day each January, let's remember this incredible story. Let's remember Congressman John Conyers' immediate call for justice. Let's remember the relentless, graceful leadership of Coretta Scott King. And let's remember the joyful, world-changing power of Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday. It's a reminder that change doesn't always come from the top down. Sometimes it starts with a protest, a petition, or even a song. Thanks for joining us for this look back at a truly historic day. If you found this story as inspiring as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more history on this day. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts or any other historical events you'd like us to cover. We'll see you next time.